Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Lunch Break Live. Real talk about obesity, food addiction, recovery, and what's really eating you. I am a very frazzled Carrie Dela Cruz, back with you today, sharing my story of Resolute Recovery. Today is chapter 3, if you can believe it. I am so happy that you're joining me, Mom. I see you there. I see the hearts floating by. Boy, talk about sliding in, not even under the wire, but that's okay. Who's counting? So listen, before I get too far into this, let me just say that if you missed chapters 1 and 2 of the story, those are available so you can catch up. They're available for you on YouTube, and I will be sure that I put the address for my channel right here after I post the video and, when it's available on demand. If you missed chapters 1 and 2 and you don't want to catch up because you're like one of those people that doesn't mind jumping into the middle of a movie, I hope that you will stay tuned to see how this ends. And no, it's not likely to end today. Anyway, before I launch into this, I have what I'm going to call some housekeeping that I have to do for the last 2 shows. All right. And, which, by the way, the shows that we've established that you may or may not be watching. Okay. But anyway, let's pretend you watched those. I have some cleanup that I need to do. And that's because every day I talk to my mom on the way home from work, typically about the show. And, it's really funny. She'll give me feedback. And usually it starts like this. Oh, honey, I didn't know you felt that way. I just feel so bad. Okay, so I could deal with that. I'm like, oh, Mom, nobody knew I felt that way, and it's not your fault. It's okay. But then it often goes to, that's just not true, and you know it. That's not true. I don't know why you're saying that. I'm like, but I know it's not nice, but it's what I thought, or it is true, or it's what I thought was true. I get it. She's like, you need to go online tomorrow, and you need to just explain so that people don't misunderstand. I love you, Mom. Okay, so given the format of the show, which, by the way, is very much live, okay? It's live, and it's largely unscripted. I mean, I have these handwritten notes, but, it's a little crazy making, and so I don't always get to say everything that I want to say, or I don't always get to say it exactly the way I want to say it, and you certainly don't always hear it the way I intend it. So, I do my best, but, I realize that sometimes I'm just going to miss. But for today, because I want to make you happy, Mom, and, just because maybe it makes a little bit of sense, I'm going to address a few things that she pointed out to me might be misunderstood. Okay, so let's see here. Number 1, I said I was the breadwinner and Juan stayed home with Hannah, okay? And my mom was like, it was obvious to me that we were both working. It's not as if, he was sitting home eating bonbons and watching soap operas because, for starters, he eats Chili's and he doesn't really get into telenovelas. So no, he wasn't just sitting home. And for anyone to kind of even believe for an instant that anyone thinks that if you stay home with a child that you're not working, right, it's like can be the most thankless job on the planet. So I just want to be really clear. I don't for an instant think Juan was not working. And I don't think you guys thought for an instant he wasn't working. But hey, it never hurts to just clarify, right? So that's number 1. Okay, let's see. Number 2. When I said I hated my daughter. Obviously, that's not pretty. Who wants to say that? Who wants to think that or believe that or hear that? And my mom's like, honey, that sounded terrible. And I just don't believe it. I just don't think it was true. I don't think you hated her. I really don't. And I tried to explain to her, okay, I was resentful of her. It translated to, God, I just hate her. That's like honesty, okay? That's not pretty. That's not stuff that we want to share with people. We want to use that on our indoor voice, our inside the head voice, okay? But I'm just sharing it with you because I'm sure I'm not the only person on the planet that ever wrestled with this, okay? It was a conflict within me, and it was based in a non-truth that I believed was truth. So anyway, my mom wanted me to make sure that you guys all knew that I didn't hate my daughter. I just thought I did. How's that? Okay? That's why I needed therapy. Hello, 6 years of therapy or whatever, okay? But I'm going to talk about that later. All right, number 3, and this is like maybe the biggest thing that I need to clarify, the whole not being loved thing. My mom's like, honey, you were loved. You were too loved. Yes, you were. And I'm like, well, yeah, I know I was loved. That's not it. It's not that I wasn't loved. It's that I didn't feel lovable, for starters, okay? And I knew I was loved by the people that, quote, should love me. But I wanted to be loved by the people I wanted to be loved by. I don't know if that makes sense, you know? It's just like, and the reason I wasn't loved by those people is because I wasn't lovable enough. So I've always said I felt very loved in my home. I never doubted my parents' love for me ever for an instant. So that wasn't what that comment was about. I mean, it was more like, okay, I didn't feel worthy of the love that I desperately wanted. And like when I was in elementary, I really wanted David to like me. And when I was in junior high, I really wanted Cameron to like me. And instead of which they treated me kind of like as a joke. And the boys made fun of them if, you know, they found out that I had a crush on one of them and stuff like that. And, you know, and I wanted to have my first kiss before I was like 60. And, you know, I just thought no one would ever love me, and all I wanted to do was just grow up and get married because I figured, hey, if I got married, that meant somebody loved me and they would love me forever and they could kiss me whenever I wanted to be kissed and they would think I was pretty, right? That's like the whole thing about the love thing. Of course, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's just it. So basically, I knew I was loved by the people that should love me, but I wanted to be loved by the people that I wanted to love me, and I wanted them to love me the way I wanted to be loved. Okay, so there's that. And this, no secret, it's mostly because I didn't love myself. Surprise. Okay, so finally, and at least until I talk to my mom today, because, you know, she'll probably come up with more stuff that she wants me to cover with you guys. All right, she tells me that I need to correct something. She thinks I should show the pants I wore before I had weight loss surgery because I am mostly hidden from view and you can't see what I look like. Okay, like you can only see me from here and you can't see anything else. Okay, so I have an issue with showing my big girl pants. I do, you know, for a lot of reasons. It's like, I don't want people to feel bad about themselves if they wear that size pants, because I'm not holding up the pants going, look how terrible this is. If you wear this size, you're a terrible, awful person. I mean, you know what I mean? And people make that connection. And that's not at all what I'm saying. And I didn't think I was a terrible and bad person when I wore those pants. I was a sick person. I was unhealthy, and I didn't love myself. I wasn't happy because I didn't feel worthy of love. Okay, so sometimes when people see the pants, they're like, oh my gosh, you know, I wear that pant size still, so I must be bad and wrong and disgusting. And that's just not it at all. I also don't want people to focus on the number on the pants, the size of the pants, and decide that if I don't wear that size anymore, somehow I'm a better person. And I don't want to focus so much on appearance, which it's true. You know, appearance is very important to me. It is. And anyone else who feels the same way, you don't have to feel bad about yourself. You don't have to feel like you're shallow or surface or there's no depth to you, because, you know, it's really funny. Like, I'll ask a question like, what motivated you to have weight loss surgery? And it's as if people shy away if you say your appearance was a motivator. It's like, oh, well, mine was medical reasons, so I'm better. I'm like, no, I'm just asking what motivated it, what brought you to this place. I'm not saying you're bad and wrong if you came to this place because, as who was it, Mark or somebody said, who was it? And he goes, I did it for the chicks. I love that. And I'm like, I did it because I wanted to look better. It's true. That doesn't make me less of a person. Of course I wanted to feel better and be better and all of that stuff. I wanted to be happy. That was it, okay? I didn't have the medical problems other people do. So anyway, but back to the pants. We're talking about the pants. Okay, so I didn't want to focus on appearance, even though appearance matters very much to me, but it doesn't always matter to everybody else. And so I don't want people thinking all I care about is how I look, all right? But having said that, I know that visual aids can be quite beneficial. So I'm gonna do it, okay? But here's the thing. I wore a size 28-30 at one point. And the funny thing is, these pants that I'm gonna hold up are like a size 26. And I swear they were the biggest pants I ever wore, but these were my skinny jeans apparently. Okay, so I'm gonna show them to you. All right, so hold on. All right, here we go. So, all right. So here's like half of it, and there's the other half. Okay, so obviously, all right, there. I could fit in like one leg. Okay, so there you go. There's the pants. There's the show and tell. That just kind of tells you, you know, that I have walked in those pants before. If you're still wearing that size, I have walked in your pants. I mean, not literally with you. That would just be weird, but I get it. So there's my visual aid for chapter 3. Imagine all the people that aren't watching this, they're not going to see that. Was that clear? Did you guys see that pretty well? Okay. And yes, that's what I look like from here down, whatever. Okay. All right. So I kept those jeans. Not because I don't ever want to forget, because trust me, I can never forget. Okay, a lot of people go, oh, I kept my pants because I never want to forget. I always want to remember. Oh, I'll never forget. I'll always remember. What I want to remember is that obesity hurts. It hurts a lot. And any kind of other pain that I'm experiencing, emotional, mental, spiritual, or otherwise, will never, ever, ever be solved by food. So why would I compound the hurt that I have, that I just need to address and deal with, by compounding it with the pain of obesity? That's why I keep the pants, okay? All right, so there's that. Gee, wow, look at the time. Do I have any time to go into chapter 3 now that I've had to cover all the stuff from chapter 1 and 2 and all that stuff? You know what? I'm just going to see how far I get in the next, like, 15 minutes or so, if you want to hang with me. I don't know if you guys have time. All right, so let's see. I ended chapter 1. And again, this is for those of you who may or may not want to go back and watch it or don't remember because it was so many days ago. I ended chapter 1 as a 22-year-old newlywed, expecting a baby girl on her first wedding anniversary and weighing 205 pounds. And then I ended chapter 2, that was just yesterday, as a 300-pound 40-year-old on antidepressants and with an almost master's degree, and a primary care physician who told me I couldn't have weight loss surgery because it would make me depressed, and but I just needed to move more and eat less. That's a pretty tidy summary, right, of like 1 and 2. Okay, so that's what happened the last 2 days. All right. So all of that ended at about spring of 2006, all right? I was 39 years old, and I felt more hopeless than ever. I mean, that's just, I wasn't going to feel less hopeless. I felt more hopeless. I was a failure in every imaginable way. I was fat. I was depressed. I felt ugly. I wanted to give up. I felt punished by my doctor. I think you guys can identify with that, which I now know was really more of a lack of understanding on both of our parts. Okay, both of our parts. I had a misunderstanding, she had a misunderstanding, but I felt punished and criticized by her but it didn't really matter back then because I believed, you ready? I believed I had done it all to myself and I didn't deserve help. Okay? I did this to myself. I don't deserve help. That was my conclusion. No wonder I felt helpless. So that's where I was in about spring of 2006. Let me just bring you up to speed. As I started to type this, I thought, want to know what I used to eat that I didn't think I ate very much of? My daily eating regimen consisted of a pack of chocolate Hostess mini donuts, a bag of pretzels, 2 16-ounce bottles of Diet Pepsi, some sort of candy like gummy bears, and maybe like a big cup of sugar-laden cappuccino. And that was on my way to work, which was a 15-minute commute back then. The donuts would be gone before I made it to the first light. 1 Pepsi would be half gone. The pretzels would be opened because the saltiness offset the sweetness of the donuts. Let's see. Oh, this wasn't my first Diet Pepsi of the morning. I would have my first Diet Pepsi of the morning almost before the second foot hit the floor, but certainly before the shower. And why did I buy so much crap at 7-Eleven? Well, here was my thought process. Okay, this is like the level of denial. Ready? I claimed that I would need a mid-morning snack and something for the afternoon, yet everything would be gone by the time I got to work. So that never worked out, but every morning when I rolled up on 7-Eleven, I convinced myself it would. Today will be different, today will be different, today will be different, but it never was. The only thing that differed was like the type of candy I got or whether I got powdered donuts or chocolate donuts. I mean, that's really the only thing that changed. Now, for lunch, let's see, it was fast food, hamburgers, French fries, Diet Coke, or KFC, like that, whatever that twister thing was, and a flour tortilla, whatever, with apple pies, because like you could buy 2 for $1, and it didn't make sense just to buy 1, and then I would only have 1 and save 1 for later, which I never did. I always ate them both. Let's see, in the afternoon, I'd have cookies or chips or whatever I could get my little hands on. Dinner time, it was like, honey, I'm at the drive-thru, what do you want me to bring home? I could polish off half a pizza, a large pizza, no problem. And I liked the thick crust the best. Why waste it on the thin crust? That's just ridiculous. Always cleaned my plate. Always went back for refills because they were free. Didn't stop eating till I went to bed late, very late. My saving grace was I did not get up and graze in the middle of the night. There are some people that get up in the middle of the night and eat. I didn't do that. La-di-da. Unless there was a can of frosting in the fridge. Then I might. Darn it. Because, you know, there was always a can of frosting in the fridge, right? I'd buy 2 cans of frosting to frost 1 cake, but I only needed like 1 can plus a little of the other can, right? Because I wanted to keep that on hand for the next time I had to frost a cake, but I always bought 2 more cans of frosting anyway because I ate that frosting. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but I didn't eat much. So, nothing healthy, always junk, okay? Always sugar, salt, artificial fuel that would burn cheap and easy. okay? Because I didn't have the energy. I didn't have any like internal combustion going on to burn protein and convert that to real energy. So this was like quick, cheap, easy burn, okay, is what it was, to just keep me going. And it was kind of like kiting, or, you know, like this, right? But more like this and up and down, right? The blood sugar plunge and the up and the down and the up and the down. All right. Let's see here. I did that because I had fibromyalgia, and it enabled me to function because I was in so much pain. I had headaches all the time. The caffeine would keep me going. And let me tell you, fibromyalgia makes you feel crazy and weak, especially like in the early days where everyone just thought, you know, you were a wimp if you complained that something hurt. It was not understood. It was a syndrome, not a disease, so not understood. And the weird thing was, I had always had a high threshold of pain, and all of a sudden, like after I had my daughter, everything started hurting. You know, don't touch my arms, don't touch my legs, I have a headache, my neck hurts, right? I mean, it was just really, really weird. And I thought, why all of a sudden do things hurt more? I didn't understand that, all right? Let's see. Wouldn't let, the backs of my arms hurt so much. Like if you had to do the blood pressure cuff, I mean, it was just excruciating. It was agonizing. And the shins, like if I went in to get a massage for pedicure, it was excruciating. I mean, they might have just, been hammering me. I mean, it was so bad. I had headaches. My feet bled on the bottom because I was so toxic. Why? I had night terrors all the time. Like within like the maybe first 15 minutes of trying to go to sleep, I mean, these were very, very real night terrors. And these kept me from getting into deep regenerative REM sleep, you know. So I never felt rested because I never was. Never got a good night's sleep. And it was just really easier if no one touched me except my husband. I really needed him to touch me. Always needed his affection, and always, always will. Very curative, very healing. Speaking of which, I've got to tell you, yesterday I saw something online that said, a recent study finds that a hug a day is actually a health benefit for women. So women can benefit medically. It's a medically sound practice to get a hug every day. So I told Juan last night, I'm like, hey, this recent study said that, you know I love hugs, but they're really important for me for medical reasons. And he goes, who did this study? A bunch of women? Well, I had to laugh at that one, probably so. It's still true. Okay, so there's that. Anyway, the point is, this is what I need you guys to know. I was miserable and I hurt. Not a good combination for success, do you think? All right. I was tired, I couldn't sleep, I ate crap, but people did not know the extent of it because I did it in my car, or I did it when I was in hiding, or in the parking lot at the grocery store where I'd eat the single piece of cake, the buttercream frosted cake, in the little plastic clamshell package that I bought in addition to the full cake that I bought. So I'm going to eat that big slab of cake in my car before I ever get home, so that I will make sure there will be enough of it for me when I get home and we actually cut the real cake. Yes, I used to do that. I was sneaky because I was ashamed. I mean, no one could understand this. Why would anybody do this, right? That's the thought process. I didn't want anyone to judge me for my food choices. I couldn't stop once I started. I had to have a sliver. I had to have a fingerful, a helping, and then another sliver, and then another fingerful, and then another helping, and another helping. And I had to shave it clean so that the edge would be straight on the cake, right? And I would just dive in with my hands. I mean, I didn't even need a fork to do it, but I had to make sure I kept it clean. And then if it was uneven, then I had to go back in and shave another piece so that no one would know that I had gone into this piece, because they'd be like, well, why is this piece so much smaller than the other pieces? So I had to make all the other pieces smaller too. That's crazy making, okay? How does that seem like a rational person doing that? And if you want to be a rational person, and if you want people to think you're rational, you don't let them know that you do that, which is crazy making in itself, because you can't talk to anybody about it for them to say, I'm sorry you're going through that. I understand. Yes, that is crazy making. Let's see if we can get you help. No. You do not talk to anybody about this if you want them to think you are rational. Okay. Here's a little story I often tell. One Christmas at work, a vendor brought me a 2-pound box of chocolate candy, okay? Which I proceeded, it was 2 layers. I proceeded to polish off the first layer in the morning, like before lunch, the whole layer. And I carefully hid the evidence. I hid those little brown papers from the candies and I took off the cardboard layer, the divider. So now it was just a really deep box, but only one layer, right? No one would know what had happened. And it was fine. And I was going to save the rest of it for the next day, but it would probably be gone in the afternoon. My boss walks into my office. And he goes, "Hey, where's that candy box that the vendor brought us?" Us. I'm like, "You brought it for me, not you." But I can't say that. I go, "Oh, let me see, let me think." I couldn't lie. I couldn't hide. I couldn't get away. I had to open my desk drawer and pull it out. And I opened the box and he looks at it, dismayed, baffled, mortified, confused. He's like, what, didn't this just come today? Did anybody else eat this? I just open up the ground and swallow me whole. Just let the earth just open up and swallow me whole and just put me out of this misery, because I can't explain that to somebody. I cannot explain that behavior, irrational behavior, illogical, because now I'll be weak and out of control and lazy and just screwed up. And wow. So that was a really defining moment in my food addiction history. It was really, really great. Shame. And the thing about food addiction or any addiction is no one understands and everybody judges, right? And they say, just stop doing it. Just stop eating it, or just have one piece. And I'm like, if you're just supposed to have one piece, then why do they give you 50? And what if I don't like the piece I just had? What if I got to keep going? I'm not going to spit it out. I'll finish it. But I got to go back in and find a piece that I really, really like. And then I'll stop once I find a piece I like. Nope, I'm going to go back in and find another piece that I like because that was so good. It tastes like more. Whoops, I got another one I don't like. I mean, that's crazy making, right? That's what I did. And it's, you could laugh about it now, but at the time it was not funny. Why couldn't they just accept the fact that food was my enemy and it controlled me? Wasn't that bad enough? I mean, that's how I felt, right? Being controlled by food without having them criticize me too. I mean, it was enough to be controlled without having them beat me up about it. It was horrible. Now, at the time, I did not realize you could be addicted to food. I just didn't. It didn't make any sense because I bought the party line that said, "Oh, you can't be addicted to something you need to survive." I believed that. So it's like, of course you can't be addicted to food. You're addicted to things like alcohol, which I didn't really like the taste of, or drugs, which I didn't really do. And right? You're addicted to those kind. Gambling, I didn't gamble. Shopping, well, maybe marginally, whatever, but not a real addiction. I just enjoyed it. Yeah, right. Okay, I didn't know you could be addicted to food. I'm going to talk more about that in the next chapter, hopefully. But here's the thing you got to understand. See, the behavior of an addict, to me, I believed was different than my behavior, okay? Like, I would go to an all-you-can-eat buffet. I couldn't eat all that much. And I would typically focus on the desserts, by the way, not the real foods, and that's probably why I didn't eat very much. So I would eat that, and I would look at other people who were big, and I would say, look at the number of plates that they're, eating. Look at the number of times that they're going up there, bellying up to the buffet line and coming back to the table with loaded plates, and they're like consuming all of that. And I didn't do that, right? So they did that. I didn't do that. That differentiated us. So clearly I couldn't be morbidly obese. I couldn't be an overeater because I wasn't like them. I was not a competitive volume eater at the potluck. Did not eat my weight in food at the buffet. Never ate at Cinnabon in the mall, ever. Because if I did that, you see, then everyone would say, well, no wonder she's fat. So you don't do things like obvious stuff in public because then everyone will know why you're fat. So you hide it. That's my philosophy. Let's see. Yeah, that's why they're obese, not me, because I eat like a bird. I believed that. Denial. Fast forward to 2007. All right, 2007. My dear friend, Jeff, had just died at the age of 44 of lung cancer. I gave his eulogy, and I remembered how much my feet hurt in those heels because I was like wearing mid-height heels, and it was like drilling for oil with every step that I took, and my feet were killing me. But mostly I remembered how desperately he had wanted me to succeed at losing weight and how very much he had always believed in me. I had to do something or die young. It was like this light bulb moment where I said, he died, and I am on my way to dying if I don't do something. He loved me so much and believed in me so much. I want to do this for him. So my first moment was I needed to save myself for my friend Jeff. That was the motivator. So back to the doctor. Now, I didn't have heart problems or high cholesterol or sleep apnea or diabetes, or I didn't have any of those conditions. Okay, a lot of people present with medical conditions. I just didn't have them. I didn't want to develop them, though. That was my argument. I'm like, hey, I don't want to become diabetic. I don't want to become, have high cholesterol, need sleep apnea. That's going to cost you a lot more. But I did have fibromyalgia. Okay, so, and there was not conclusive evidence, by the way, that fibromyalgia caused obesity. It's correlative, but it's not necessarily causative. Okay, so they're correlated, but you don't have to be obese to have fibromyalgia. So it's like, it certainly didn't help the problem. Okay, I had really bad knees, really bad back, and those things could help qualify for weight loss surgery if you also had a BMI of 49 at least, which I did. I had a BMI of 49. That is morbidly obese, which, by the way, let me give you a little clue about morbid obesity. I used to think morbid obesity was a definition of me, that I was morbid and disgusting, right? That's how we use the word. But really, it was deathly. It was deadly and will kill you obesity, and that is what I had with a BMI of 49. But I needed a doctor to recommend me for it, and my doctor, remember her? She would not approve me. But God was definitely on my side. So by the time, I think it's like early 2007, I went to the doctor to express my despair, like, help, help, help. I came to you last year. You didn't help me. I need help. Lo and behold, my regular doctor was not there. It was a visiting doctor from Africa. She had just returned to like this whole tour of Africa. She was amazing. This woman was an angel. This doctor was an angel. And she looked at me and she said, you know what? She believed in me and she said, you can do this thing. Oh my gosh, you can do that. Tell you what, how about you just eat all the hard-boiled egg whites you want? Throw the yolk away, but just eat all the egg whites you want. Start with that. How about if you start Weight Watchers? It's a good eating program, and you don't have to put yourself on a trip. Just try that. I think you can do this, and I'm going to prescribe you Meridia, which they don't prescribe anymore, by the way. She prescribed me Meridia. And guess what? The Meridia had an amazing effect on my brain chemistry, because it was like night and day. One day I woke up and I wasn't thinking about food anymore. I was not obsessing. My brain was not screaming at me to go eat, stick my finger in the frosting in the fridge. My brain was not screaming at me to have cookies and cake and stop at the 7-Eleven on the way in. It's like, it was like a switch that had been flipped, and all of a sudden I was like, I can do this. I can do this. All of a sudden I felt capable, and I went to the gym, and I could only do a minute on the elliptical, 1 minute. And it hurt my knees. They say it's not supposed to hurt your knees. Oh, it hurt my knees. 1 minute. And then my feet would hurt and fall asleep under me. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, then 5 minutes, then 10 minutes. And I started building on that success. And I started doing stuff. I remember the day I got to an hour and didn't die. I was blown away. I just felt like I could hear choirs of angels. I did an hour on the elliptical. I could never have, and I still weighed over 265 pounds, 270 pounds at that point. I could still do it. So with Meridia, a change in my behaviors and the belief that a doctor's belief in me and the belief that I could do it, the belief in myself, I began to make changes in my life. And I did lose 50 pounds in about like 6 months. And I went back to the doctor, and, I wanted to have weight loss surgery. She said no, but the visiting doctor had put in the notes that I would be the ideal candidate for weight loss surgery. Well, suffice it to say, that doctor, the PCP, not the visiting one, fired me. I'm not kidding. She fired me. I was going to fire her first, but she fired me as a patient. And so I had to go off and find another doctor who would refer me for weight loss surgery. Thank God I found one. I got referred. I got approved. And in December of 2007, weighing 268 pounds, I underwent gastric bypass surgery, and I had RNY. All right, so 268 pounds. The difference was there had been a shift in my thought processes, in my beliefs, and my capabilities. Okay, that was big. And which brings me to this next part as I wrap it up. I'm going long. I can't wrap it up. You guys tell me, do you want to hang out for longer or not? I only have like 3 more paragraphs. It's up to you. You want to stick around? Okay. You're like, don't leave me hanging. All right. I see hearts flying by or thumbs up or something. I'm going with it. All right. Bottom line is that a lot of people have these psychological buzzwords out there: self-esteem, self-worth, self-efficacy, self-awareness, and it's all focused on self, which I hate. I mean, I just don't like that. And I know that's not the purpose behind it, but it is what happens to me, and that trips me up. And if you're one of those people and it gets in your way, then how successful are you going to be at addressing those issues? Okay, so I'm just saying what I learned to do, I think, is kind of change the terminology a little bit to make more sense. So here we go. Self-esteem, I believe, is the willingness to believe that others see your value. The willingness to believe that others see your value, and the willingness to believe that others can believe that you have value. Okay? Self-worth is the belief that you have the value that other people can see. Self-efficacy, which I can never say anyway, is the belief that you're capable, that you can. That's all that is. Self-efficacy, the belief that you can do it, something. And the only way to know is to try, by the way. Self-awareness is the belief that you have the power to change. You have the power to change whatever it is you don't like, whatever it is you can't do, whatever it is, whatever. There's a lot that you can change. Self-awareness also says that you can accept the things that you can't change, which sounds an awful lot like the Serenity Prayer, don't you think? You have the power to change the things that are unhealthy, the things that eat you up, and the things you overfeed. So, look at it any way you want, but those are the ways in which I began this journey of recovery, this resolute recovery that says, these are the tools that I'm going to pack into my backpack as I go along. These are the things I'm going to pitch. These are the things I'm not going to like. These are the things I'm going to work on, which is where therapy came in, by the way, which I will not talk about today. When you begin to believe that you have value, others can recognize that value in you. And when you believe that you can do it and make the changes that are necessary, that is the day you can begin treating and recovering from your obesity. See, this is not magic. There's not some magic bullet, magic pill. It's not some light switch overnight moment where you just all of a sudden change. But you have a spark. You can have a change in the way you think that can begin to lay the foundation for success. So, let's see here. See, I already talked about those paragraphs. Dun, dun, dun. When I emerged, I think, from weight loss surgery, this is what you need to know. I entered weighing 268 pounds. And when I came out, because I had begun to lay the foundation of success, because I had begun to prove to myself that there were tools available to me that I could use to become more successful and healthier and more balanced, I was more optimistic than I had ever been in my entire life. I began to see that it was possible to live a healthy life and to actually find that happiness that I had been chasing, that I never believed I deserved. So, late. That's it for chapter 3. Sorry, guys. It's hard. This is hard. And I have to tell you this really quick. Yesterday, when I called my mom, it was brutal. Because I said, I laid it all out there, Mom, and it hurts. It just hurts because I don't want to live there. You know, I don't live there. I don't forget those things, but when I dredge them up and when I talk to you guys about them, it's like reliving them. And, you know, I say that I've addressed them, I've dealt with them, I've acknowledged them, I've accepted them. It doesn't stop them from hurting. And so I don't want to live in that place. But I realize that sometimes if it can help somebody else, I have to go back to that place to share it, dredge it up is the word that came to my mind. It was exhausting. And I felt really yucky. I didn't feel good. I didn't feel positive about it yesterday. I felt kind of like, well, that's out there. So today I feel a little bit more optimistic, and it's growing. And I hope, like any good book, you know, you have your highs and your lows and your denouements and your crescendos and your whatevers, and your anti-heroes. I don't know. Anyway, I promise you that next week, as I wrap it up, it's going to be really positive and hopeful and joyful, and you're going to emerge, I think, with an understanding and the belief that if you're not doing this already, you can. That there's nothing special about me, that you can do this thing. So next week, I'm going to share about losing 160 pounds to become twice the woman and half the body. And I'm going to talk about how my relationships with food and myself and with others changed. and the supercritical role that therapy played in my recovery. Super, super important. I cannot say enough about good therapy. And for today, I'm going to leave you with this. Forget about the self words, esteem, worth, efficacy, and focus on what they represent. You have value. You are capable. You are worthy. You can choose freedom from your obesity and your food addiction. You can do this. I know you can. So that's it for chapter 3. Next week, tune in for chapter 4, where I talk about therapy and food addiction, and probably going to be a chapter 5 so I can talk about recovery. I don't really know. Thank you guys for being here. I hope this helps. Because, like I said, I don't like to dwell on this stuff, but I'll do it. I'll spend time on it if it helps you guys, okay? So thanks for being here. Thanks for being so kind to me and for listening. And wow, way long. Done. Call it, Carrie. Just call it. Take care, you guys. Have a super great weekend. I'm going to remind you all to have courage, seek peace, embrace joy, and above all, choose to live recovery. Remember, you cannot stop feeding what's eating you if you don't know what's eating you. I'll see you guys Monday. Take care. Bye.